Hello and welcome to another episode of Issues and Insights. I'm Bryce Shoemake from Hardin County Government. And you know, it is beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere we go, which means winter weather is not too far behind after Christmas gets through. And we may even get some during the Christmas months. We never know. But I've got a great crew here today on our show. And we're here to talk about, to everybody, winter safety, winter driving, winter preparation. And so with me today is Mike Leo from Hardin County 911.
Hello.
Mark Peterson from Hardin County EMS, and our Sheriff, John Ward from Hardin County Sheriff's Office. Gentlemen, welcome to our show today. And
Thank you.
I know you all have got all your Christmas shopping done and you're ready for Christmas. But, you know, we do need to start thinking about winter and getting everybody to think along those lines. We've enjoyed a nice, long, mild fall here, but now it's creeping up on us, guys.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So, Mike, I want to start with you because one of the things, the first person that gets called on anything is always Hardin County 911. One of the things we want to get across to people is we're glad for you to call 911. But we also have a non-emergent line that we need to get out to everybody because people will call John, they'll call 911 to ask, is Muldrow Hill open? And that's not an emergency. It may be in their eyes that they need to get to work, but you know, whether a roadway is open or not is not something that we ask people to call 911 to. Folks, you all should be listening to your local radio stations and picking up weather alerts. We'll give you our non-emergent line. We try to keep 911 for emergencies only. And so, Mike, you've got several lines that ring into Hardin County 911.
That's correct. So, I mean, just like Bryce was saying, you know, if it's an emergency, definitely call 911. Those folks there at the dispatch center is going to take those calls and send you help. But when it comes to informational items, you just simply call our office line, 270-737-5669. And the dispatchers there will be able to tell you if roads are closed or, you know, what areas to stay away from, icy roads and stuff like that. But that's the preferred method. If you can just call the non-emergent lines, and they'll be glad to give you that information.
Mike, if you would repeat that non-emergent line, and folks, we'll put that down at the bottom of the screen so you all can jot that down as well.
So it's 270-737-5669.
And folks, one of the things that we want to make sure that you all understand is if we have an ice storm, and I should wash my mouth out with soap for even saying that word, but if we do have ice and your electricity is off, calling 911 is not the proper phone number to be calling if your electricity is off. Nolan, RECC, and KU, they are so much electronically advanced in what they were when we were little. And John and I can testify to this. Now they actually know when your electricity is off because they've got they can see each house that has a meter, and they know that your electricity is off. So they know what areas are off. If you've got electricity off, you need to reach out to your electrical provider, whoever that is, whether it's Nolan RECC or whether it's Kentucky Utilities. You need to reach out now. If the line is falling on the ground and it's arcing where, like in a roadway or somewhere where somebody could step on it, or it's going to cause a fire on a structure, then by all means call 911. But you know, those are some of the winter weather things that we get. Correct, Mike?
And you can also reach out to the power company's websites. They actually have outage maps. You can actually look up your location to see if your area is out with power.
Absolutely.
So that's another resource instead of calling the power companies and not being able to get in. You can check their website.
Because the last few times we've had ice storms, we have been covered up with calls.
Flooded.
We couldn't actually handle the emergencies that were going on, and people couldn't reach us because of folks calling us with electrical outages.
Correct.
Mark and John, with winter weather, if we have hazardous winter weather, as far as responses for emergency personnel, whether John it's law enforcement or Mark it's it is EMS or fire, it is going to take you all more time to get there.
Oh, yes, sir. I mean, the road conditions affect us just as much as they affect everybody else. We'll get there, but we want to make sure we get there safely so that we can be a benefit to you and get you to the hospital safely as well.
And John, we have been able to get all of our frontline vehicles at EMS four-wheel drive, and I know you all have several.
Yes, we're either front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive on all of our fleet now. So that's a big help in the in bad weather. And the main thing to remember, just like what you said, we can't help you if we can't get there. So it might take a little slower on response, but we will be there.
And John, I want to follow up on that. A lot of people think just because you do have four-wheel drive, or the term all-wheel drive is kind of taken over for four-wheel drive, just because you do have those types of vehicles doesn't mean that you all can fly to get there.
And it doesn't mean, and just because you have a four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive vehicle doesn't mean that you can drive on slick roads as fast as you want to go. There's no telling how many accidents that we respond to where a four-wheel drive is turned over, where people get the false sense of security because they have a four-wheel drive and feel that they can drive on any type of road. You still have to be very careful no matter what type of vehicle you're in.
Absolutely. Mike Leo, you and I were talking off camera before this got started, and with this in mind, you have dispatchers trained with certain things medical-wise that they can help while EMS is en route. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so the 911 center has something called emergency medical dispatch. It also relates to law and fire protocols also. But during times, any time that you call 911, the dispatchers themselves, prior to an ambulance arriving, can give you instructions, CPR instructions to help your loved ones, control bleeding techniques, and a lot of different other protocols of pre-arrival instructions for you that's calling for that person to help them. In essence, it's a really big benefit during bad weather events when the road conditions are compromised and the crews heading to your location are going to be a little longer. So we can actually provide you with some instructions to help. On top of that, in certain scenarios, we do also utilize the fire departments who may or may not be a little closer to your location, and they may get there and be able to provide some what they call basic life support aid, EMS for EMS before they get there. So, yeah, the dispatcher keep you on the line, give you some instructions, and most of the time is just trying to keep people calm and letting you know that people are on the way. But CPR instructions, you don't have to know how to do CPR. I've got dispatchers that'll give you those instructions over the phone. I'll walk you through them step by step. If someone has hurt themselves and they're bleeding somewhere, there's some techniques to help control that bleeding. So a lot of different things that we can do over the phone to help you.
And Mark, that does help with the first, as quickly as you can get first aid, so to speak, to them, helps you all greatly by the time you get on the scene.
Oh, absolutely, and especially with cardiac arrest and sudden death. The CPR instructions that dispatch can provide are sometimes the difference between life or death for some of these folks. Because early CPR is the key for survival, and stopping bleeds and stuff like that all are very, very important.
John, now's the time for people to start pre-planning, so to speak, is what you and I have talked about for years, and preparing for winter weather driving. If we do have a snow or an ice event, somebody goes off the road, that usually means there's several somebodies that are off the road. It may be a little while before emergency help can get to them.
Yes, and that goes along with prepare, prevent, and protect. You want to prepare yourself when driving in the winter. Have a blanket in the car. Have extra items that you might not think about. And one thing, in the winter, we go out and we have frost or ice on our windshields. How many times do you see people trying to drive with just a little spot scraped out of the window?
That big around.
Clean your window and be able to see out of your vehicle before you travel on the roadway. But on the other hand, if you're going to warm your vehicle up, you want to be careful. You don't want your vehicle to be stolen.
Right.
That happens in some cases. So prepare, prevent, and protect. Be prepared for the situation.
You know, one time you told me that people should prepare like a winter safety kit or a winter survival kit to put in their vehicle.
Yes, a blanket, gloves, even in some non-perishable food.
Some water.
Some water, yes, absolutely.
They also sell, just to kind of bring it up, they also sell what they call hot hands, hot feet. They're little
Yes.
things you can break and you can put them in your pockets and warm your hands up. Just saying that because my kid uses that in marching band. So,
And hopefully you won't need any of those items. Just allow yourself extra time. On days that the weather's going to be bad, don't leave for work the same time you normally do. Allow extra time to get there. And there's all sorts of things, if you just use common sense, that you can do to protect yourself.
And John, you said something real important just a little while ago, to prepare and to prevent and to plan those kind of things. People get a false sense of security, like you said.
Yes.
But people also think it can't happen to me.
Exactly, and it very well can.
I would bet all of us sitting here have gotten stuck one time or another in snow or ice.
Yes.
And so, and sitting here at this table is several years of experience in not only emergency driving, but driving in those kind of conditions. And if we can get stuck, anybody can.
mm-hmm.
Yes.
And again, the four-wheel drive vehicle, it's nice to have, but it doesn't mean you won't get stuck.
That's true.
So, can you give us some ideas of what some people should do as far as safe driving during, say, that type of weather?
Well, you never want to follow vehicles too closely anyway, but allow extra space between you and the vehicle in front of you, especially on slick roads, because it's going to take longer for you to stop your vehicle if the vehicle in front of you stops. So, and allow extra time to get there, and drive slower. You can't drive your normal speed on icy roads or snow-covered roads. Slow down and just pay more attention to your surroundings. And just because the road looks clear, if it's been icy conditions, really a road that's solid snow or ice, to me, is less dangerous than one that has it in spots, because people get a false sense of security that the road's clear or just wet, and they drive along at a normal speed until they hit a slick spot, and then you can have a serious accident.
And John, just because they're putting salt down doesn't mean it's necessarily melting
That's
either,
right.
correct?
Yes, yes.
Mike, Leo, you and I talked about something earlier, and this falls back to Mark and John both. People get frustrated a lot of times when they call 911 because the dispatcher keeps asking several questions.
So just kind of give the process. When you call 911, there's call handlers there that are trying to collect as much information about what's going on as they can. During that collection time, initially in the first 20, 30 seconds of them talking to you, they have already began to send someone your way. We don't delay the dispatch of a law enforcement or EMS to your location. We just have dispatchers or call takers still trying to collect more information, because all that really does is lead to what pre-arrival instructions that we need to give you, or whether or not that we should continue to stay on the phone with you based off what's going on.
So you have several people in the room at 911. So let me ask you this. While that person is sitting there talking to the person that is called in, there is another person that is dispatching, whether it's a sheriff's office or EMS or fire. There's another person that's dispatching those units out, even though they're still talking to the person.
That is correct. There's multiple employees in the room doing different things. One person's taking the phone call, another person's dispatching resources to that call, and it goes on all day long.
And if I can add on that,
Yes.
please, I know it might seem like the dispatcher's keeping you on the phone for a long time, but in a law enforcement situation, there's many times in a law enforcement call that we want the dispatcher to keep a person on the line as long as they can. Because we want to gather information while deputies are en route to the location to help. So we don't want you to feel like that somebody's not headed your way, because they are. But in certain situations, a dispatcher will keep you on the line till emergency personnel get there.
And several of these questions that we're asking at 911 are questions that you or Mark or fire service has told us they want us to ask, correct?
Correct, yes. And when a call is being dispatched out, you have emergency personnel that's asking the dispatcher questions to ask the person on the line, just to gather more information, because we need all the information we can.
And John, people get frustrated a lot of times at our dispatchers because they say, quit asking me questions and send somebody.
Yes.
What they don't realize is that somebody is actually on the way, and I've said this once, and Mike has said it as well. Somebody's on the way because there's multiple people in dispatch. One is asking questions and one is sending whatever that emergency service is out while that person is still asking questions. People get frustrated at that because they think you aren't sending anybody.
And the main thing is be patient and realize help is on the way.
Right. And we are trying to get there as quickly, and the other word is safely, as we possibly can.
Yes.
Because we don't want to get one of our folks hurt or hurt somebody else while we're trying to get someplace to help somebody.
Yes, just like we said earlier, we can't help you if we can't get there.
That's exactly right. And I'm a prime example. I ran right into a telephone pole on an emergency call one day, slick roads, hydroplaned, and I didn't get to the scene because I was trying to go too fast to get there to the scene, and I didn't help them at all. So, Mark, with EMS, especially in the wintertime, I think a lot of people that are watching our show don't realize that your crew, much like Radcliffe Fire and E-Town Fire, they're working 24-hour shifts.
Yeah, we're on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Our crews work 24 hours on, take 2 days off, come back. Now, with inclement weather, those guys and gals may come in and work a little, extra time to keep up with the demand for service and stuff like that. Yeah.
And with that, a lot of people don't realize they're truly living at the station during that 24-hour period. And John, you were there too. Before law enforcement, you did a small stint there with EMS as well. You're living there at that station, and so people may not realize we're coming from someplace where we could have been up all night long.
Yeah,
because it's been so busy.
Right, and the weather brings a lot of calls for everybody. So we're out. We tried to staff extra crews to keep up with the call volume, and but yeah, you're right. They're coming from the station. Station is home to them, where they cook, clean, sleep, shower, all the stuff there. But they're coming, and like Sheriff Ward said, we're going to get there. We're just going to get there safely.
Right. And fire departments, God bless them, they come out and help all of us. When they're called. A lot of folks don't realize that of our 14 fire departments that we have across our county, 12 of those fire departments are purely volunteer, and so they truly get paid nothing. I've heard people have said, "Why did it take you all so long?" That's because people are coming from their homes and they are volunteering their time. They're paying for their gas money to come out and help all of us that are calling for emergency services. Yes. And so, God bless those volunteers. Absolutely. That are out there trying to help other people and giving of their time and their money. And many of them have been hurt over the years trying to help people in Hardin County, and they were truly volunteers.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Guys, continue on with this as we go through. And folks, we just want you all to understand that winter presents a hardship for emergency services, much more so than it does anybody else, because you all depend on us to be there. We still have to show up every day, John.
Yes.
You don't say, hey, don't come in because it's snowing today.
We don't get any snow days. That
You know, and it's same with EMS and 911. It makes a little bit different line of work. Emergency services is harder to get folks to help and even apply for jobs nowadays. John, can you?
It's in years past, there was no problem recruiting individuals for emergency services. Now, the numbers are really down. You have to work at it, and I think the changing generations, but we constantly recruit good quality candidates.
Absolutely, and folks, we want you all to know that if you're interested in working at 911, at EMS, or Hardin County Sheriff's Office, or any of the fire departments, we're glad to take an application from any of you all that want to apply and make sure that you're able to come and serve with a great group of individuals. Mike, just want to talk a little bit about people calling in. We touched on this earlier. People calling in, Marlboro Hill's a big one. People calling in on 911 to ask you if it's open. Those folks actually have access to other avenues as well, correct?
Of finding if the roads are closed?
Yes,
Just local news.
Right.
We do have a county alert system called RAVE that we can push those alerts out to for different road closures. You'd have to sign up for that by going to the county website. Same essence, so you can still call the non-emergency numbers for the 911 center, or even your local police departments that would have some information about road closures.
But let's talk about RAVE. RAVE is something that we've had the last 4 years, and it is a reverse 911, and people can sign up to get weather alerts. They can sign up to get alerts for roads that may be closed that the sheriff's department calls and asks us to put those things out. Let's talk about how people sign up. You said they go to our website, which was hcky.org, and folks, we'll put that down at the bottom of the screen, hcky.org.
Right, so hcky.org, I believe on the main page at the bottom there should be a graphic that says RAVE.
At the very bottom, it's a round button. There's 4 round buttons at the bottom of the website.
You simply just click on that. It takes you directly into the RAVE sign-up forms. Just fill out the information, and it's pretty much that simple.
One of the problems that we've had, Mike, is that if people didn't have an email address, because it asks for an email address on the form that you fill out, and that can be submitted electronically, correct? What did you tell people to put in that spot if they don't have an email address, which is hard to believe nowadays, but there's still several people.
Right. So simply, you just most email addresses is your name. Just put in your name, but instead of at Google or at iCloud, just put at example.com, and it'll let you in.
It'll take it.
It'll take the account.
So do that. Tell everybody that one more time.
Just simply type your name out and then use the at sign at example.com, and that should be able to create your account.
And so that you all know, Mike has the RAVE app that you can put on your phone. It'll send you text messages to your phone. It'll call your phone if it's some type of emergency. But the best thing is it's hooked into the National Weather Service's site. And so any alert that the National Weather Service sends out, it'll send you a text message to that RAVE Alert app, correct?
It will. Severe thunderstorms, any severe weather statements coming out that automatically be sent to your device once you've signed up.
Okay. Mark, anything that we need to follow up on with winter and EMS?
Yeah, a couple things. It's a big time for travel. As Sheriff Ward has mentioned, if you're going somewhere for a prolonged stay, make sure you're taking extra medications, and if you need oxygen, you're taking extra oxygen, because you never know. You may get to your destination and get snowed in, or get to a point where you get snowed out and you can't come back home. And also a little plug about carbon monoxide detectors. If you use anything, just about anything in your home to heat, propane, kerosene, wood-burning stoves, stuff like that. It's a good idea.
Even natural gas.
Natural gas, yes, sir. It's a good idea to have carbon monoxide detectors, make sure they're working. We don't make a lot of those runs, but they do increase with the weather. Get your chimneys cleaned, stuff like that before you start using them. And I'm all about a winter preparedness kit, not only for your vehicle, but at home. Dog food, medications, extra water, things that toilet paper and stuff like that. Things that you don't necessarily know you're going to need until you actually need them. Batteries, weather radios, stuff like that.
And if you actually go to the Hardin County Education and Community TV website, we've got previous Hardin County government presentation on preparing that kit that you're talking about, and you can watch that and see what kind of items you need to put together.
Oxygen's a big one. And the ice storm several years ago, we delivered a lot of oxygen because people need the power to run their oxygen. So stuff like that just keeps that close in hand.
And something that our fire departments would want to get out too is don't bring a grill inside to cook with if you're in ice, or bring your generator in because you're afraid somebody's going to steal it and it's running while you bring it inside. Yeah. Common sense takes a big leap here.
Yes, and we also see a huge increase in slips and trips and falls. So if you don't need to be out, clearing out your driveway or your sidewalks and stuff like that, there'll be plenty of people out wanting to do that for you. Right. Just take some extra time, as Sheriff Ward said, with your travels, and even get in and out of the house. We were lucky enough to know ahead of time when everything's coming. So prepare yourself. Make sure you have groceries and all that stuff.
Guys, I knew our time would go by fast because there's a wealth of information here. He has told me I've got 1 minute, so I want to thank you all for your service that you all give to Hardin County. I appreciate each and every one of you and all the folks that you have working with you on a daily basis. Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us here on Hardin County Education and Community TV, where we tried, just like today's show, to keep you informed of everything's going on in our county and things to keep you safe. Thanks for joining us. Merry Christmas to you. Hope you enjoy the holiday season. And stay tuned because we've got a bunch of special TV shows to show you about your kids in the Hardin County school system during this great season. So stay tuned. We'll keep you informed. Stay safe. Be alert. And thank you for joining us. I'm Bryce Shoemate with Hardin County Government. Take care.